Woo! It's that signature sound, the unmistakable sound, the incomparable sound of the wonderful Crystal Waters live in the building. Crystal, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm so excited to meet you
because,
because, as you know, we've been playing your music for a long, long time. As a soul music DJ, played house for many years, and from the moment you blasted on the scene, you came out with the Gypsy Woman record, which is an incredible record. I want to talk about all of that, but I want to say, first of all, welcome to London, welcome to the UK.
Thank you for having me.
It's a beautiful thing to have you live, and it's the first time. Is it the first time you've been here?
This is the first time I've been here, I'm pretty sure.
Didn't you do something with Spen in October, DJ Spen?
To London, I've been many times. To the station, though, yeah, I did the 10th anniversary of his label at Ministry of Sound.
Right. How was that for you?
It was great.
Yeah.
Ministry of Sound's a great venue. Everybody was there. All my folks were there. Barbara Tucker and everybody. It was great.
Beautiful. Listen, the house music. You are dance music royalty, really. Although I know your background is probably a bit of jazz. I can hear it in your voice. I want to talk about all of that. But first of all, I want to say congratulations. You have a new record out there called Dance, Dance, Dance. We're going to play that later.
Okay.
Just tell us about that, actually, because you've been making music for a long time. You've been making music with DJ Spen for a long time. Basement Boys family, of course. So what was the decision to make that record 2023? Tell us about the making of that record.
The making of this record, me and Spen have been friends. And, I kept saying, I want to do one more album. Let's do one more album. Spen has been he's kind of the one that keeps his foot up my butt to get it done. So we decided we were going to do it, and he sent over like 3 or 4 tracks. The first 2 were the Javon tracks, this and another track. And when I heard the music, it was like, when you hear that hook that's already in the track, and I was like, oh, this is it. And we wrote it, and I got like 5 songs into the album, so we got a few more to do. But I knew, we knew Fashion Week was coming up, and I was going to be over here and everything, so we were like, well, let's get a single together, so when I'm out here. And this is the one we picked out of the ones we have. Okay, because you did Party People as well, which was that the track that's coming on the album as well? No, we're not going to put that on there. We're going to do new, but that's the song I did for Spen for his label. Right. So Party People was fun too. Yeah, it's a big record for us, man. Yeah, we did love that. And you came over. You've been doing a lot of shows. You've just done the GAY. Yeah. And I did Heaven. I did the Soho House, 180 Strand. And I closed at a fashion show, the Milan fashion show. It was 3 different crowds, but all of them were great. Yeah. But listen, whether it's a different crowd or whatever, they're all going to know who you are. They're all going to know, I don't know, particular records. I mean, obviously you did the Destination Calabria as well, which was a huge anthem. Massive commercial. I don't know, I think it went top 10. It was top 10 in like 50 countries. Something stupid like that. Yeah, crazy. And that subsequently was sampled and used on other bits and pieces as well. But in terms of what we do here, I'm going to tell you a story actually. Gypsy Woman. How old is that record now? It's 32 years? 32. 1991. Jeez. Does it feel like yesterday? It doesn't feel like that, does it? No. Well, listen, it's 32 years old, that record. 2 weeks ago, Crystal, I played at a festival called Soul Town Festival, and the age group was between 16 and 21. I mean, we had our Mi-Soul family here as well because we hosted a tent there, so we had our listeners. Our listeners tend to be sort of 25 to 35 to older. But this particular festival, for some reason, a lot of youngsters there came in. I did a set, played that. Everybody in that tent, all the age groups knew the record. Knew that song. Yeah. Not only knew the song, but knew the words and just knew the hook and everything. I think it's amazing. We were talking about TikTok. I have young teenage boys that decided to say, "Are you going to do that song?" I'm like, "What song?" "The TikTok song." I said, "Oh, it's the TikTok song now." But it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's amazing that it's 32 years. 32 years, and there's no way it feels like that. That 32 years, it's flown by anyway. I could have never imagined when I wrote that I'd still be singing it today. Not 32 years later. I know, crazy. Well, I want to talk to you about the creation
the creative process of that record. Now, I've spoken to another one of your homies, another one of your family members, Teddy Douglas, who's just a beautiful soul. And he was doing a show on this station. I don't know if he's still doing it actually, but he was doing a show, and I was like, you know what, I need to speak to Teddy. I need to talk to him about the whole Basement Boys situation. And they put out an anthology, and of course that record was on it. He had his take on how that came about. He said he heard your voice. He was doing a lot of jazz stuff, and he called you, and you guys, he said that you needed to come to Baltimore and spend some time in the basement. He also said that record, you wrote it originally for Ultranate.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That's true.
So come on, give us your perspective on how it all came together.
Well, you're kind of right. We met at a music conference in Washington D.C. and I was doing more. I wanted to be the next Sade, so it was more of a jazz thing, or something. And when he heard my demo, he called me. He said, "Can you write some of that? What you do over, dance beats?" I said, "As long as I can keep my styles." He said, "Yes, we want keep you be yourself, but write it over these beats." So he sent me a couple of tracks as I was supposed to be just a songwriter on the production team.
Right.
So the first 2 tracks I wrote was Gypsy Woman and Make It Happy. So when I got up there, Teddy fell out the chair. He has a big personality. He said, "Oh, but still you have to." So I sang it, and I think they gave it to Ultra, but he said it was something about my voice that resonated with it. Usually people who write their own stuff, it kind of matched. So they ended up putting it on my demo with the Sade stuff. As soon as they sent that out, it got signed like right away. So
wow, Mercury Records, the rest, as they say.
It was actually A&M Records in London that signed.
In London,
yeah.
I've got the American pressing of that. I think it was Mercury. Is it the American?
It was Mercury. After I got signed, I sat for 2 years, and then Mercury brought it over to New York.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, at that point, we were probably getting all the US imports over, and I got it on that. I don't think I've got the UK pressing of that, but definitely the US pressing still got that. Still, a real kind of treasured part of my possession in terms of my music as well. So that's really interesting. The fact that you say that, because I can't imagine anybody else singing that record, and I don't think it's been covered.
It's been covered.
Has it been covered?
You haven't heard it, though, have you?
I haven't heard it because probably for obvious reasons. But I can't imagine anybody else's voice. So even as great as Ultranate is, I could never imagine. I mean, obviously because your version has come out and it's the hit. Now I couldn't imagine her voice on it as amazing as she is. But it's just it's a focal point for house music. I think if people are talking about big house records and hits, there hasn't been many on that kind of level.
No?
No, I don't think there has.
Okay, that's a compliment.
It's a big So, I mean, has it been hard to kind of try and follow that up in terms of the magnitude of how big that record is? I
think, especially back in '91, for all of us, me, the Basement Boys, to come up with another one after that, it was a very stressful time to everybody, They were calling us one-hit wonders and things like that, so it was really stressful to come up with something else. But I think, once you get past the fear, you have to try. You can't just go into a cave and hide. So I think we did pretty good on the second one. 100% did really well. So that was the one. Once we got past that, we were like, okay, we can do this. We got this.
And you said earlier on that you kind of, because you had the success of Gypsy Woman and obviously 100% Love came through after that, you were rushed to get an album together. Did that? Was that a kind of, I don't know, stressful process?
Well,
frustrating?
Not for me. For the Basement Boys, it was kind of. I was over here. I was doing Top of the Pops. I was doing all that kind of stuff. And when I got back home, the album was done, and I was like, "Well, where did you get the songs from?" So they took all my demos. I'm talking about demo vocals and everything, and just changed all like the Sade types, and they just changed. Kudos to the Basement Boys for making that happen, and just did all the music underneath of it. So it was basically an album that was rushed, and we did it from the demos, and they put it together.
Do you know what? I think we should play 100% Love. We're definitely going to play Gypsy Woman. Okay. We've got to play Gypsy Woman. But you know what? I sort of want to save that. Do you know what I mean? So I want to save that. We're going to play 100% Love because that's off the same album, which was Surprise.
No, 100% is the second album.
Was that the second album?
Yeah, 94.
94, okay, so Surprise was the first album.
It was Gypsy and Make It Happy with the 2 big ones.
Alright, okay, so we've already played that. Should we play Gypsy Woman then?
It's your show.
Alright, let's play Gypsy Woman. I mean, listen, it's just, it's such a beautiful honour to have you here, Crystal. And I know you're going to be doing some shows. Are you doing Glitterbox whilst you're here? Have you done that already?
Not while I'm here, but hopefully soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to play this one. Let's play this one. Gypsy Woman. one of my favourite house records, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. When I say this like a focal point, I don't remember many bigger hits in the house music fraternity than this one. So I salute you for this record.
Thank you.
Wow. I was just talking to Crystal about this record, and that reaction, I can't say that I was surprised, otherwise I wouldn't have played the record in the first place. But I think at that time, because I haven't played to a younger audience like that in a long, long time, I thought I'm going to draw something and hopefully they'll know it. And not only did they know it, they knew every word, which was, again, I'll repeat, it was such a wonderful, it was beautiful to see that, you know, because it was like the next generation educated in great music.
And I hope it makes them go look up, you know, house music and get into it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, talking about house music, I know you're kind of stated in, when I've done my research, you are down as being just like a big entity within dance music and house music. Does that bother you, or would you prefer to be known as just someone who is, because I see you with a jazz background as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know you was just talking off mic about maybe doing some tracks with Spen, more sort of jazz influenced as well. So, are you happy with that moniker, being sort of, you know, the queen of dance music?
Yeah, I love being a house artist. I am a dance artist. I just, because remember when I first started, it was so new and I loved it, and it was all about being in that club scene and just being a part of the community, which, you know, that's really what house music is about. It's a feeling, it's a community. And I just love being that, and that's just what I'm, you know, even now, my label's called I Am House, you know. Yeah, and my podcast is called I Am House. And this, you know, I do come from a jazz background.
We'll talk about that. I want to talk about your heritage.
But yeah, I love house music, and part of my mission is to make sure people know about it, that it continues on.
Okay, well that sounds like a good plan to me. Listen, we're going to do some traffic and travel, Crystal, need to let people know what's happening, get moving across town, and then we'll come back, more music, and have a little conversation. I want to talk about your background, because I know your dad was a jazz musician as well, so really want to know about that. Keep it where you got it, Mi-Soul family. Got the legend in the building, Crystal Waters. You just heard her on that one, 100% love, pure love, 100% pure love. Taken from the album Storyteller.
Yes.
So it's 29 years.
29
years.
It's another lifetime.
It's a milestone, you know, 30 years next year. What are you going to be doing to celebrate that? Do you celebrate the milestones in your records?
They just come so quickly. No, I think I'll celebrate it with a new album. How about
there you
that?
go, that'd be a beautiful thing. So will that be, that's really 2024, I'm guessing?
Yeah, probably in the spring, I'm thinking.
All right. So I've been threatening to go back to heritage now. When I do my research when it comes to my interviews. I'm very thorough, and I like to sort of think that I get things right, but sometimes I get things wrong, as we all do. But I know you're from New Jersey, and I'm inquisitive. I need to know about your background. I know your dad was a jazz musician, so obviously that's where it comes from for you. What was it like growing up and listening to your dad do his thing? Did he take you to any of his shows?
Yeah, he was a jazz musician. Like, he played since he was 14. He could play any instrument. And every summer I would go on the road with him, because he would tour around America, and I would sit in the club. You know, you could do that back then.
Yeah. And smoky clubs as well.
Yep. And he said I used to steal a couple of beers.
How old were you, roughly?
Under 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I went from like the age of 7 until like I went up to college. I would go every summer. I just loved it, and he always had stacks of jazz albums laying around. And sometimes when he was playing, that's all I had to play in the room. And I loved all the female jazz artists. Ella Fitzgerald's like my favorite, and Nina Simone and all those guys. And that's what I used to play in the room while I would wait for him to come back home.
And I'm guessing you listening to all those artists and going around and being with your dad when he was doing his shows and everything, that's got a major influence in the way that you deliver your vocals, even though you're into your house music.
I think so. I think that's what makes my vocals different, you know, than some of the other. Most of the other girls are gospel singers. And I think mine is more of a jazz approach to the whole thing. So I think it gives me a little unique edge.
Absolutely, yeah. And talk to us about your Aunt Betty as well.
It's my Aunt Ethel. Betty's my mom's name.
Mom. Okay.
Good job.
Come on. So Ethel, it was your Aunt Ethel.
Aunt Ethel Waters. She was a very famous actress, singer in the 1940s. She had a lot of firsts as a black woman, first international hit. think she was nominated for an Oscar. She did the movie Cabin in the Sky, which was a massive movie. So that was always in the family. My brother was in a band. My sister sang. My uncle was Zach Zachary, who is the lead saxophonist on MSFB. And I know you know Touch Me in the Morning, the whole jazz.
Zach's Fanfare.
Yeah, that's him, Uncle Zach.
Yeah.
So he was always around the house. I used to go to the MSFB shows. Gamble and Huff were family friends.
Oh, wow.
So Teddy Pendergrass. But I was always a little shy when I would just sit there probably like a sponge and just soak it all up.
The information.
Yeah.
Listen, Crystal, you had no choice but
you don't realize it at the time. It's like, oh wow, maybe I am on the right path.
There was no way that you was going to do anything else apart from singing. But you are an incredible songwriter, and I mean, what was you doing? Okay, so pre-Gypsy Woman, after sort of going around with your dad and everything else, and being in amongst all the sort of Philadelphia hub, if you like, the melting pot of that. What were you doing? I mean,
well, after high school, I went to university in Washington D.C. And was studying computer science and business administration. Nothing creative at all. And I just got this job. I got a job at in the D.C. government at the parole board, issuing warrants with the FBI.
Wow.
Sounds interesting, but it was really boring.
Yeah.
But and I just remember just knowing that I wasn't going to make enough money, because they tell you how much you're going to make for the next 10 years. And it was like, what?
Yeah, I'm not having that.
I'm not. So I, to make a long story short, I went to a psychic. And she told me I wasn't doing something with my voice. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to be a speaker or public. And I went back to work, and everybody was like, well, you love music, And one of my friends said, well, I have a cousin who has a studio. They're looking for background singers. He said, I'll go if you go. I said, I had never sang in front of anyone before. I said, oh, I'll go. And I got the job. And it was like when I got in there, the light bulb went off. And I knew this is where I wanted to be, that whole studio vibe. And that's when I started writing.
And who was the friend? Is it the guy
the background singer? He was an African singer. His name was Freddie Cole, and I saw him maybe 1 or 2 times after that,
and then you kind of
got famous after that.
Oh, what a story! It's amazing. Yeah. So fast forward, meeting up with Teddy, going in, you did Gypsy Woman, and all that kind of stuff. How's life been post that? Since having that massive record for you, how much has life changed for you?
Well, life changed overnight. Like I said, Gypsy Woman came out. I was sitting for 2 years. No one even believed I was signed anymore. It was like, oh, she's lying. And then when it hit really big, and I even kept my job for 1.5 years. And then I realized that this was going to be my career. So I feel like I've been on tour for the last 32 years. It's always been one thing after another. Every time I think I'm going to sit down and not do anything, something else comes along, another opportunity comes along.
Yeah.
It just keeps me going.
No, it's the beautiful thing. I mean, I have to say, with a record like Gypsy Woman and 100% Pure Love, all those records, even the Destination Club as well, you're not going to be able to take a rest, Crystal. Because people want to hear them. They want to hear them in clubs, but they also want to hear them primarily in festivals. Because they're records that get a crowd going.
That's what I mostly do. I'm doing festivals, especially over here. And I'm doing prides. I'm doing, some of the 90s festivals. It's just, I like the daytime show, so it's working out pretty good for me.
Listen, I think since COVID, I have to tell you, I think it's changed. I think the landscape has changed in terms of club culture and everything else. Clubs are still there, they're still doing their thing, but the festival thing, the daytime thing, the brunch thing for me is working, I'm sure. But you must see that transition from COVID to now.
Yeah, I think it's nicer to be outside in fresh air than in a club, sweaty club. It's probably a little bit safer.
Absolutely. So you've been filming the video for Dance. We're going to play that with Dance Dance. Is it Dance Dance Dance?
It's Dance Dance Dance.
Dance Dance Dance. Dance.
Dance Dance.
Okay, so excited about that record?
I'm very excited. I mean, me and Spin, we really love it. It just feels really good. Yeah. Just something straight to the point, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How'd you get on with Spin? Is he like a big brother, little brother, big brother?
He's like a brother, you beat up and wrestle it.
I love him. He's such a him and the Mrs. Kelly as well. Yeah. Just my family really. So, okay. Well, listen, I'm going to play Dance Dance Dance. I want to say thank you for coming in. I hope you can come in. Listen, you're doing a podcast as well. So, if you want to tell people how they can catch you on the podcast, I'd love to hear you on Mi-Soul Radio as well.
I would love to be on Mi-Soul Radio.
We'll chat with the boss man.
Yeah, let's do that.
That would be a beautiful thing. Yeah. Oh, shout out.
Yeah, we do shout out. Well, first, my podcast is iTunes monthly. I also have a weekly show on America on Sirius XM channel 141 Saturday, Sunday nights. And I gotta give a big shout out to Jane McGuire. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a fan. We love you very much.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
There you go. Let's go that to you. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
through.
for having me.
I know you've had a mad busy time. I'm going to let you go home now.
Okay.
A rest before you get out to work again. Let's play the single then, Crystal Waters. Dance, 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 or dance, dance, dance.
There you go.